1 second, I'm just gonna change the position of this. For some reason, working earlier. I don't know why. Just gonna move this. Should be better now. Oh hey, welcome. I don't know why my phone wasn't working like horizontally earlier. It was only like letting me go live like vertically, which is really stupid, Just unfortunate. Sorry if the audio I'm recording. Well, I'm going live on my phone right now, so that's why you see that there's a lot of. If the audio quality isn't great, then I'll apologize. Let me know if you can hear me, by the way. Yeah, so I'm just gonna write down everybody who joined the stream's name today. So I hope your day is doing well, by the way. I know, it's been sweet. Just gonna try to see the chat as well. It's my first time doing this, by the way. I'm gonna do live chat. Oh, hey. Well, I'm just gonna write down all your names so I can keep track of all of you, but hopefully your Friday has been doing great. Let me just start off by saying, basically got home around half an hour ago, and it's, I guess this is my second time, but this is my first time, going on my phone, because last time I went on my computer. Today I kind of want to make it more personal, so I wrote down your name. Hopefully it's not, showing it in reverse. Hopefully you can actually see your name today. Yeah. Let me just order this again. This thing is not. There we go. Okay, unfortunate. The name's read backwards. Yeah, I think that's a bit dumb, unfortunately, but that's really unfortunate, actually. But So just feel free to ask me questions. I guess I can draw something, it helps, but really I just want to talk to all of you because I know that, my last stream I mainly just talked about I'm mostly just on my computer, right? I didn't eat dinner yet. I'm probably gonna buy dinner later because I usually treat myself on Friday. I threw the chicken burrito away because it's great, it's. Oh, talk about Canada? Sure, I can talk about Canada, and I guess Canada right now is in a really weird spot because I feel like we're going through a bit of a transition with the new Prime Minister, and I feel like currently, there's all that's out of our control, right, as regular citizens, right? I feel like mostly America just kind of taking charge and influencing the world economics, so. But in terms of Canada, I feel like it's definitely affordable in where I live in BC. Affordable in pretty much Ontario, really Alberta, some areas are affordable. It's the weird part is I don't think anyone really cares about politics, at least not factory work. If you ever worked in a factory, I feel like majority of them don't really care too much about politics. I guess one of them I do. He's from Indigenous, he's First Nations, so I can see why he's not really into politics. Right, in general though, I feel like majority of people at my work don't really care so much about social media. They're the type of people that just want to get by, They don't really have high expectations because, a lot of them work there for over 10 years, right? I think let me see. Sorry if I can't see all your chat. I don't know why it doesn't show everything. Let me see. Oh, there we go. I don't really want to talk about like Trump too much, just because majority of us already know pretty much what he's about. I feel like it's kind of hard to say, because I feel like there's definitely gonna be some probably Trump supporters on the stream, right? Like for me, I don't really like to go too political, just because I know that people are just gonna defend their side, right? It's like kind of a waste of time in some sense. Like obviously, like I feel like religion makes more sense to talk about, right? Like politics, I feel like it's almost like a social construct, right? It's pretty much like designed to keep us distracted from the real problems. I feel like either side is great, because ultimately I feel like the people that do become prime ministers or presidents aren't exactly the people you want in power, right? You probably want the ordinary guy, like working a 9 to 5, to be the prime minister president, not some wealthy businessman or someone who's a career politician, right? Someone who's been a politician her life. Maybe their parents were politicians too. I feel like they're sort of out of touch with the ordinary folks, but that's just me. I feel like a lot of people don't really focus too much on that. They focus more on the policies, right? Like immigration policy, abortion, all that stuff. But in reality, you need to also look at how the government's structured, right? And how the policy is implemented. A lot of times, like, they're not going to tell you how it's really done, right? Like, you can see, like, it's shocking how Trump hasn't got impeached yet, even though, clearly he broke so many laws, right? It's like the people above the laws don't apply to them, right? So it's kind of pointless. And let me just take a look. Yeah, definitely right is way worse, I would say, as of right now, just because of how much they're abusing their power, right? It's like everybody's pretending that. I feel like everybody's just sucking up to Trump right now. Like, I feel bad for like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people just end up supporting him when they're in office, just because it's kind of hard to change people, right? Like change is one of these things like people are very ignorant to do, because let's say they end up changing, right? That means they have to give up on their entire ideology they've strived and believed in their entire life, how they grew up and all that. Like almost like existential crisis for them in a way. That's why it's kind of hard to like forget about. Kind of hard to switch religion, right? If you go from Christian to like Muslim, that's gonna be pretty difficult. You have to almost rewire your brain to think it completely different. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat. Oh, hey, Captain Glaze, welcome back again. Hey, Commander, and hey, Baby Sagan, and Armored Ghost, Gaudy Skater, Namgu, and really appreciate y'all being here, by the way. Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. Honestly, I heard of that like experiment where they injected they put a chip into a rat, and yeah, also basically what happens, like the rat forgot how to eat and sleep, and then I think eventually something along the lines of that. It's kind of scary. If imagine you put it onto a human, like you chip onto a human, basically like you're pretty much in control of it. Like someone else is in control of you, pretty much, which can kind of. I feel like this might be a super like conspiracy theory, but I feel like eventually like there might be like a almost like a company that creates like brain chips for us, right? They're probably gonna cure like dementia type of disease, right? And it's almost like a Black Mirror episode where they're probably gonna into our skull, and I feel like the government is probably going to like almost like how like typically like Facebook, like those big things kind of know what you're talking about even when you're not using your phone. Like basically they can see like everything you do pretty much through the camera or like through the microphone pretty much, and that's how they give targeted ads. For example, at work the other day I was talking about an ad of Hunter x Hunter, and then a random Hunter x Hunter short came up on YouTube, and sometimes I get ads on cat food when I talk about it. It's like almost like a bit too weird and too much of a coincidence. So I think they might even like. I feel like the government definitely tried to take advantage of that, and they're obviously not just gonna. They're not gonna tell you everything about what's inside, like the black box. Same as AI, right? And I feel like, who knows, right? Like the government might be able to control you based on the brain chip they put into your skull, right? It's almost like it's kind of scary to think about in a way. That's why I don't really want to go too much into tech, and I feel like there's going to be diminishing returns. You might think the growth of technology is amazing, right? There's so much convenience nowadays in our lives, but I feel like eventually we're going to hit a stage where technology is going to like be a detriment to our humanity in a way, just because like I feel like we're going to rely on way too much, and I feel like there's going to be too much we don't know about it, and eventually like it's going to turn on us. Like, yeah, I think sometimes good to just stop. It's completely, that's my issue with a capitalist society. It's like the whole premise is to just keep growing our society, keep growing our economy and seeing the numbers go up. But I feel like we end up forgetting about the important things, right? Like human needs when that happens. And we end up forgetting about the safety measures we need to take account for, right? Like I know a lot of people end up just being super whenever a new iPhone comes out, but I feel like a lot of times we don't think about the safety risks of it, right? Like all of us, use iPhone often, but we don't know how often the iPhone monitors our behavior, right? Who knows? They probably got like a freaking brain scan out of all of us. Probably know what we look like. It's like there's no. If you think about it, a lot of people say, "Hey, I have like no privacy, right? I'm putting my face on freaking YouTube," but if you think about it, whenever you use your phone, it's probably already got a screenshot of your face. The big companies know who's using the phone, right? You pretty much none of us have privacy. You guys probably have like just as privacy as me if you think about it, just because of let's be honest, all of you guys have phones and they probably have cameras attached to it. Like unless you glue a tape onto the camera itself. And it can probably even hear you, like when you guys are arguing in your bedroom and stuff. Oh, morning. Sorry, I was just ringing. I know I said a lot of dumb stuff, but yeah, apologize if I'm a bit of a doomer. Oh, thanks for being here. Commander Apple, Monkey Bun, Natcat, Jackie Y, BT. Yeah, definitely privacy is more difficult. Start answering some of your questions now before I ramble even longer. But how concerned am I when you live stream like this? Well, for one, I feel like this is not any different from videos because this is pretty much just me going live. It's pretty much me talking to you all instead of me just like rambling like in the recording. But definitely it's gonna be a lot more interactive. And it's unfortunate. Recently, I actually bought this board. Originally, I was gonna write all your names on it. Like for example, if I write like freaking my name, it's probably gonna be like backwards, right? Like you guys probably see this backwards, sadly. Unfortunate. Like I don't know how to make it like so it's not backwards, to be honest. Almost kind of dumb. Maybe I have to like stream it using the front camera. I don't know. I think that might be it, but it's unfortunate. I'll figure something out. But right backwards. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that. Alright, guys, let's see if I can do that. This is gonna be like so freaking dumb. I'm gonna try to put my channel name backwards. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I'm capable of doing that. Hold up, guys. I'm just gonna try to see if it works. If I can do it. Alright, let's just works. Oh, there we go. It actually worked. I can actually see there. I wrote my channel name backwards. I know it's not very impressive, but I'm just trying it out to see. I guess this is the only way. Well, imagine if I write all your like IGNs, like your names backwards. It's like Yeah, I don't know why live stream can't mirror. It's wait, a shirt option to mirror. Sorry. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna mess around too much just now, but yeah, actually let me know like what type of stream you guys prefer, like me on the camera, me on the computer, or me just like on my phone. Obviously, like I'll try to get the mirror figured out for next time so I can actually maybe do like something interesting, right? I could like write down my thoughts on this whiteboard as well, or just give shout outs like that, because I do want to be more interactive and just rather than me just like talking to you. I'm just trying to see. Unfortunately, it's like pretty difficult to see the chat like this. Oh, I'm just in my house right now recording with my phone. You know, this is literally what I used to record my videos. Like, I literally just used the front camera. That's pretty much what you guys are seeing right now. Push-ups? I mean, I guess I don't really need to mirror my camera for push-ups, right? I'm just trying to see a best place to do it. I guess I suppose I could do it if you got, unless you guys are joking, you know. Also, honestly, I should probably like. I'm just checking. I can't even tell what time it is, honestly. All right, I guess I can do push-ups. Hold up. And then, oh, I have a good idea. I'm just gonna try to figure out a nice place to do it. What is a clean place to do push-ups? Okay, I got it. All right, guys, I'm gonna do push. If you guys are just on the stream, I'm basically about to do push-ups. Let's see how many I can do. Last time I did pretty much 30 push-ups. And thank you, Old School Ninja. I appreciate it. I'm just gonna put it right here and do some push-ups. Here we go. I'm gonna take off my glasses. All right, here we go. You guys can count for me. I think I'm ready. Okay. Oh, yeah, I think, wait, let me just take a quick brief rest. I think I do it less. I'm just gonna get back up. I know I broke my streak, but man, this floor is really hard for doing, so slippery. Like, you have no idea. Oh, shit. Fuck. Frick. Yeah, after I freaking, like, lose the momentum, I'm just, like, straight up can't do push-ups. Oh, shoot. Anyways, can barely see right now. Hold up. I'm gonna put this back on here and I'll be right back. Anyway, sorry I disappointed all of you. I just literally came home from a 10-hour shift, right, in a factory. Like, my hands are already super sore. Like, I feel like on a good day I can do 50 or 60, like, no joke. But today, sadly, since this freaking, I worked for 5 days straight, right, 10-hour shifts, I literally have to use the arbor press. If you guys don't know what I do, I have to pretty much use the arbor press to like literally pin down stuff, right? Yep. And I have a surprise for you guys, by the way. I got dumbbells, but these are like freaking baby dumbbells. Like, I had them, but I guess this is a good start, right? You know, I might use legitimate dumbbells next time, but these are just like more for like, honestly, these are probably for girls, to be honest. Like, I don't even know the weight on them. Oh, they're 2. Yeah, this is like for kids. I guess it's better than nothing, you know? Like, if I just straight... Imagine, like, I work out in the stream. That's, like, so funny. Yeah, I need to upgrade this, honestly. Like... Imagine if I just do my... Like, work out in my streams while talking. Like, I just straight up do this for the entire stream, like an hour straight. I mean, it's, like, better than nothing, right? Like... But yeah, let me know what you guys want to talk about. I can also do just a Q&A, right? You guys can ask me while I just do this, right? Because this is nothing. I don't even feel anything. So, you know, it's like... Yeah. Honestly, one of these good days, I'll probably, like, do a stream of me actually doing push-ups. I actually want to see if I can hit 100. Or, like, even hit at least 50 in a row. Like... But yeah. So what time is it for all of you? I'm just curious. For me, it's like 6 o'clock. I'll eat dinner after this, but... Yeah. Oh, it's 7:54, so... You guys are probably EST then. EST is like 3 hours later. I'm probably going to just take out because, you know, I don't really typically want to eat in restaurants. Oh, cool. It's 6:54 for one of you guys. I think it's probably 5:54 right now for me. Can't really see the time right now. Holy crap, it's so cold here in Canada. I'm not sure about you guys, but it feels like 10 degrees down here. It says Zerf, you should monetize. I think it's bought already, the stream. I'm not sure though. Everyone wants to hear your thoughts. What pub are you from? I'm from BC. I know a lot of people hate on BC because it's like full of Chinese people and Indians, right? It's like pretty like multicultural. I guess Ontario's also kind of like that. I don't know. I feel like BC, Canada has a sort of a bad rep, you know? It's like... Dang, lucky. I wish I was in a country that's like... I've actually been to Mexico 3 times before. I've been to Cancun. I saw it at Chichen Itza. Freaking pyramids. It was pretty sick. Here in Calgary, there's a lot of Indians too. I'm actually sort of surprised, I guess, but like what I heard from like one of my past friends, he used to work at Fort McMurray, Alberta. He was doing like camp work, He was a journeyman electrician, and remember he was like pulling wires for like 12 hours a day in Alberta. So, and he said it can be really and very cold. The weather there is very extreme, you know. So, what's Canada's national dish? I actually don't know. I think like it's probably like I think that's like the most popular one. But I can't think about anything besides poutine, to be honest. The funny thing is that poutine is actually from French. Like, I think it's the definite English is like a hot mess, apparently. It was like a happy accident. Like, basically a chef mixed in fries with gravy and then it ended up tasting good. Cheeseburgers are better. Andrew, you're probably American, right? I'm assuming American. Yep, America, baby. Also, sorry if I can't read off your chat. It just disappears after 2 seconds. I know, it's like YouTube live streaming is so dumb. I don't know why it doesn't show the entire chat. It says, I don't know what that is, Jackie. Hopefully it's not like a taboo word. It sounds a bit sus. Like, I don't want to say like something that's like, you know, not politically correct, right? Religiously correct. What was the last TV show you watched? That's a good question because it's been a while since I watched a TV show. I would say it has to be like, oh, okay, it's actually Black Mirror, but it's like Black Mirror. I only watched one episode of it. It was season 2, like the latest season, but I didn't really like it. It was a bit predictable and corny. Oh yeah, you're right, Andrew. But sometimes like people just get like super, offended, right? And then especially like, you know how sensitive like YouTube is, right? It's unfortunate how we can't really have full freedom. That's why I have to sometimes be a bit, less. I can't straight up say stuff like, but you know what I mean, right? Oh, hey Brian, welcome. Right now I'm just like, you could say I'm not really working, right? I'm pretty much just like, literally just like screwing around and just like these two, like these. This is literally the weight. It's like so light. I think like in a few weeks I'll probably order legitimate dumbbells and just like work out during the stream, Start a voice call on Discord, then you won't have to be politically correct. Oh yeah, good point. I'll definitely be able to like say a lot of stuff that normal people would not, talk about. I'm just gonna scroll up in the chat. Grandma dumbbells. Yep, these are definitely for grandmas or toddlers, Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat real quick. Do I like PlayStation 5? I think PlayStation 5 is great just because it has a lot of exclusive games, right? That's the reason why I think PlayStation 5 is probably better than Xbox, just because you can probably play GTA 5 on it and a lot of other exclusive games. God of War Ragnarok is one of them. And I know Last of Us was only on PlayStation. Oh, Monkey Bun, you said we should create a website. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of doing that with like 2 other people. One of them is actually Paul. I'm sure a lot of you probably like see him. It's only better because of Helldivers 2. Wait, really? Is Helldivers 2 not on Xbox? I saw Helldivers 2 is like on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Legit. Oh, Lobby. I think you're also in Paul Yu's Discord. Oh, dang, that's crazy. That's actually kind of sucks. I'm actually surprised like Xbox can't really even get much games on their platform despite them being owned by Microsoft, right? Like Microsoft, it's gonna... Oh, connect Discord to PS5. Oh, I see. By the way, I'm just gonna stop doing this because there's no point for me doing these grandma dumbbells. This is like pointless at this point, but it's unfortunate for all of you guys who just joined. I recently bought this board. Unfortunately, it's stupid because when I write, for example, if I write freaking high, it's gonna display freaking IH, right? It's like so dumb. It's like backwards. Unless I somehow scream the other way. Wait, I actually have a good idea. Hold up, guys. I think I actually have a plan for you to potentially see what I'm drawing. Maybe. I'm gonna see if it works. Oh, cool, Jackie. You actually discovered me through Paul Yu, but... Actually, never mind. I think I can't do that because I won't be able to see the chat. I'll probably do... Oh, I can't write backwards? Oh, yeah. Technically I can, but I need practice. I feel like it shouldn't be too hard, right? Like, writing backwards pretty straightforward. It's like... It's just not something I do normally, Brian? But I can write your name backwards. Alright, right now I'm going to do a challenge. I'm going to write all your names backwards, like everyone who's watching this. So I'm gonna just like go through the list and see. I'm just gonna do this as practice because I feel like eventually I'll probably end up doing this in some way, in case I just can't. Actually, it's not even hard. I think I was like over exaggerating on like how hard it is. Like there, this only, yeah, Brian K. There we go. That worked. By the way, Brian K., I really appreciate you being here. I know you commented in a lot of my previous videos because a lot of your points were pretty insightful. Like, remember you were like mentioning like how like we shouldn't like take others too seriously, right? Like how we should just. Oh, anyways, and yeah, I'll probably write all your names because I'm just gonna do this as like pretty much just my appreciation for all of you because I do want to also remember your names. I'll probably keep your names for a while just so I have to get to know you guys as people, right? Because ultimately though, I want to be able to like remember all of you like by heart pretty much instead of just seeing you guys as like words and text. Okay, I watched that. No one saw that. Wait, is this right? I'm kind of like worried. Okay, there we go. I think I fixed it out. There we go. Andrew, there. I definitely did not mess it up the first time. Yep, Amber. Do I have in person or usually Discord? I wouldn't say that people on Discord are my friends. They're like more acquaintances, right? Like it's kind of hard to say because I just talk about topics about our lives, but we never really like did anything outside of just talking on Discord, right? We never talked yet. What did you say, BBDN? You asked a question, right? What's your question? I can't find your question. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what you asked, unfortunately. But to make up for it, I'm gonna write your name so I remember you. Next time I can maybe answer your question. There, I did it. Alright, I still have a lot of names to go, so you guys can just like who am I rooting for NHL playoffs? Unfortunately, I don't really watch hockey recently, so I can't really answer that question. Like, I know it's kind of crazy, right? I'm Canadian. I don't freaking watch ice hockey. But I'm gonna be frank with you all, but I'm not really into like hockey that much, you know? Like maybe Stanley Cup finals, but I'm not like a diehard fan of it. Can put hot dog cell, please, and Paka? Sure. Actually, I'm gonna go through the other names then do that because I feel like I kind of want to put other people's names first just because they're probably been waiting. Man, writing backwards such a drag. Like, it's just tedious because of, like, I'm not used to it, but it's actually not. Man, some of your names are really long, I realized. Like, imagine you guys have a name that's like 12 20 letters long. That would be crazy to write. So far, got 4 names down. Old School Ninja, and sorry, it's kind of dirty on the top. Last one, can't really. And just that one, I realized. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm down for a podcast. Also, sorry if my set's super unprofessional. Honestly, I don't really care too much about like the quality right now. I just want to connect all, just because the whole point of this just me to getting to know y'all. And I know it's like kind of scuffed, you know, the quality. And let's just try to figure out how I write your name. I think. How do I do this? Man, it's so freaking cold out here. My nose is getting like really runny. I don't know why it's like so cold down here in the basement. If you had just used a computer, you could just copy and paste. What do you mean copy and paste? Yeah, just wait. There's probably like an app that allows you to like generate names backwards, right? I can just copy it in my board. That's like I think it's more fun trying to figure it out, right? I think this is just more interactive. You guys can see me screw up. Like, I forgot the dot in Jackie, but you know. Man, this looks like a freaking 5-year-old rolled it, right? Look at freaking how I write the names. It's like so bad. Looks like a 5-year-old toddler drew it. And I need to write. All right, now I'm gonna do Captain Glaze. Yeah, sorry if you find this dumb. I just find this kind of like, this is my first time like messing with this, so you know, this is kind of interesting, right? Like, obviously in the future I'll probably use this whiteboard for actually meaningful discussions. This is just like me experimenting the capabilities, you know, and seeing like what seems to work and what doesn't. It's honestly dumb stuff. My name is just Frank. Okay, I'll try to do your name since it's freaking short. Thank goodness someone with a short name. Like, I'm actually super thankful your name is not like freaking, I don't know, like something super long. There we go. You're right there. It's kind of crazy. I can probably fit all your names here, even if I write it in big letters. Do you live with my family? Maddie asks. No, I live with my current family, but sometimes they visit me, right? Sometimes I visit them as well. We live in pretty much the same province, so it's pretty close. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna write last name just because, you know, I'm sure your first names are already unique enough. Oh yeah, we should definitely play picture or Gardic Film. There's actually a fun game on Discord called Gardic Film. Pretty much, it's kind of like broken like telephone, pretty much like telephone on steroids. Oh yeah, Hangman on the whiteboard would be pretty fun, actually. Yeah, I'm actually down to play Hangman, but I want to write all names before I do anything. Do I have any relatives in Asia? Unfortunately, that I'm gonna answer in not a positive way, just because let's just say that a lot of my relatives end up passing away, like for the past 5 years, just because. Basically, I'm pretty sure I already shared this to you in my videos, but basically my grandfather passed away due to like COVID around 2020, and yeah, basically both my grandfathers on my mother's and father's side are pretty much like dead, and I only met them when I was like 6 years old. So, but one of my grandfathers did end up, you know, he used to like walk me to school. He helped me a lot with my mental health and depression. I remember I was a pretty depressed kid in elementary school. He was a therapist, you know. Me and him would just go on walks, me and my grandfather sometimes, and he would just like calm me down, right? Because sometimes I would get panic attacks. I feel like he definitely made my childhood a lot less chaotic than it could have been, right? Because I feel it's more important to have a good support system, but I think I took him for granted before because I sort of, you know, didn't think of it at the time. I just like thought he was gonna be literally, but that's life, I guess. Join us. We can make your thing. I'm sorry. It's fine. Yeah, I know. Like, basically, the issue is that a lot of people like just putting labels on people, right? They say, "Oh, you're an incel, you're a cell, you're a hot dog cell," right? I feel like labels are super dumb. It's a lame way of judging people without knowing their true character, right? Like based on how you see them, first impressions, right? How they look, how they sound, how they speak, right? You just instantly slap a label on them. I feel like that's a sort of a superficial way of judging someone by their characteristics. I think it takes a lot of time to even get to know someone, and I feel like humans are more than just labels, right? Like all of us too unique to have our own label, right? You don't know, like I feel like some people who may look, you know, childlike may think differently, right? Like just because someone's attractive doesn't mean they act like Andrew Tate, or you know, it's like very controversial, and someone who's like very anti-feminism, just because someone looks masculine. But I feel like it is sort of a merit to it, you know. It seems like social media sort of paints a picture. It likes to generalize a lot of people. That's why I feel like it's almost like a self fulfilling prophecy, right? Let's say you're a muscular dude, you probably be supporting too many like women just because media has portrayed people that look like you to behave a certain way, right? If you behave character, they might think you're unconventional. That's why I feel like a lot of people fall to certain tropes in their personality, right? Like if you're look like a nerd, you're probably gonna act like one just because that's like the normal way someone like who looks like you would act, right? So I think it's really frustrating. That's also how stereotypes goes, right? And racism. Yeah, incels is someone who hates women. Yeah, that's the issue. I feel like a lot of people say like people who can't get suddenly like end up hating on women, right? Like for me, honestly, I don't hate on women. I never really hated on women. I just feel like a lot of people have really high standards nowadays. Like not just women, of course, but it just feels people judge others too much on look. But I don't blame women for that. I blame more like social media, like dating apps, right? Like what do you call it? Like standardized dating apps, you could say, like standardized ways of finding a relationship. I'm just gonna read all of your stuff out for now because I know I missed a lot. We need to work hard to meet women's standards, so also will always be. And yeah, that's true. I think it makes sense. I think the other society we have to adapt. Obviously, we can't just sit around, bum around all the time, and just hope and expect women will just come to us. And yeah, definitely you have to work. It's definitely like something you have to put in. You can't just like expect women to come to you, right? You have to like work for it. And Maddie, yes, do Asian women date Asian men in province? Sadly, no. Majority of them I see go with like Caucasian men or like just someone who's like black, right? But that's just from my observation when I like go outside. I feel like that really happens in Asian countries, right? Like China or Japan. Old school ninja, I'm sorry you lost all three of your grandparents. I know that can be pretty rough, especially if you know them for quite a while. I know a lot of people, like, when you were born, your grandparents were already dead, right? So you probably don't really have a feeling of them. I feel like when you start hanging out with someone for a very time, so starting to understand the character, when you lose them, it's much more difficult, and it's kind of like hard to forget. I'm just like trying to read everything. Yeah, I think I caught up pretty much. But I think I wrote all your names, by the way. Yeah, Brian, I honestly, like, I really didn't want to say that out loud, basically, because I know a lot of people in my Discord server identify themselves as, like, insult in a way. Like, I feel like it's definitely not a good influence. Like, I feel like antagonizing women is definitely a nice way to, see life. A lot of people might say it's, like, makes sense, but for me, I don't think that's reasonable, right? Just because, like, someone was born like a doesn't mean they're like evil, right? Like we didn't control what body we're born in, right? When we're children at birth. We're pretty much, it's kind of like a video game. We're given a random seed, a random set of characteristics. Like whether we're from a wealthy family or we're born in the middle of Sahara desert, right? We don't get to pick. So I think it's unfair to, judge someone just because of how they're born in a way, because we didn't control how we were born, right? It's not like we pick our race, our gender, our background, and our history. Like we didn't ask for a lot of things, sadly, in life. And I feel like a lot of people think that everyone has their full-on decision. It's kind of stupid, like almost like a double standard, right? Let's say insults hate on women, right? Let's say women end up being lesbian, right? They're still gonna hate on them. Or let's say women becomes like gay, right? They become a man. They're gonna shame as well. Like no matter what identity the woman identifies as, people were always gonna hate on them, you know. So it's kind of unfortunate. Like I feel like no matter what gender you are, you're gonna get hate on. So it's pointless trying to change your gender, trying to appeal to a certain audience. You're just gonna find new enemies, right? So it's like really dumb, like putting labels on people in general. That's why I don't really like put labels on people, just because I just don't think it makes sense in a way, because humans are too complex to have labels put on them. Yeah, I feel like the issue is men. I remember I read this somewhere, but basically, when you see a man, you see a man as someone who has masculine features, right? Like broad shoulders, you know, maybe a chiseled jawline. Maybe they also are 6 feet tall. They have six-pack abs. They have a decent job, making probably 100K a year, and they're well groomed as well, right? Wearing a suit. That's how most people see a man. But typically, when you see a woman, you tend to realize that a lot of the inferior traits that people judge men for are actually found in women. For example, women are seen as caregivers, right? Seen as soft, seen as almost like pushovers, seen as someone who's like physically weak, someone who has a lot of estrogen, right? They basically like anything that's not man-like testosterone, like the opposite of testosterone is pretty much estrogen. Pretty much, if you behave like a woman, you're pretty much not a man in a way. That's why like a lot of people that are men want to inherit all the masculine traits, because all the feminine traits are seen as inferior. That's why I feel like in society women are treated inferior than men, just because of the way our social construct was made in society, right? It like if you go back to the caveman days, right? Back then, like I feel like men would, based on genetics and genes and chromosomes themselves, men have always been physically stronger, physically more built for battle. That's why you never see women really in the front lines, even in the military. And I feel like when you have more physical strength, force, you are going to be more of a leader. You're going to be making decisions in society. And I feel like that's why even a lot of philosophers are men. A lot of the women, there's not any accomplished people that are women, right? If you got Forbes top 100, majority of the most richest CEO are like all pretty much men, like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos, you know, all men, right? But I feel like it all stems through like pretty much human evolution and how like we portray each other, right? Also, I appreciate the donation, whoever did that. It's pretty hard to see due to the chat. Oh, hey, Rod Richards. You said, hey, Lair, my friend. Pleased to meet you. Love your videos, how you articulate your thoughts. Many of them are thoughts of my own. Thank you so much for the donation, honestly. Like, I didn't really expect that. I'm just here to honestly just talk. Anyways, for anyone who just joined, I'm pretty much just, you know, writing down names, but I was just talking about, like, how stupid, like, whole gender war is, right? How like we're still fighting to this day. I feel like gender is a topic that's probably talked about the most from what I've seen on my Discord server in comments. People end up like bringing up gender, even in politics, in religion. Like it's kind of crazy, right? How like okay, have you ever imagined a universe where there's only one gender? Let's say all of us are like, what if there's only men in the earth, right? Or only women? Or what if women was the ones in power? Let's say opposite. Let's say women just happens to be more physically strong than men, but they pretty much everything else is pretty much the same, right? Like their physical body is pretty much the same. Like would life be different if women were the dominant like gender? And I feel like it's kind of stupid how life has like almost a hierarchy, right? Like you typically see the Caucasian men on top. Probably you would see like, I don't know, like what would be the most bottoming hierarchy? Like what would be the most inferior race and gender combination you could have? I don't really know. But anyways, I don't want to talk too much on this because I realize I'm starting to sound racist. Honestly, I'm just trying to make a point, right? Like honestly, I don't judge anyone by the race and gender because of this, but I just want to bring up how dumb talking about it can be, right? Because like And obviously, like, there's so much nuance and so much to it, right? I recently like learned that basically if you have a black man and like a white man in the same classroom, basically if you bring up something that kind of, triggers something in the brain that reminds them of skin color and their ethnicity, some of them would do more poorly on a test. Almost. It's almost like certain people based on their skin color have stronger confidence just because of the background and history behind it, right? You're probably want to thrive and work harder if you're Asian or a visual minority in a Western country. If you're like a Caucasian man, you're gonna be less stressed just because, in a way, like it's kind of hard to explain. But I'm not here to like trying to be racist. I'm just here analyzing, and I feel like there is some merit to it just because of the way like society is structured, right? How there's a visual hierarchy on like our appearance, and also like basically I think there's 3 things that are the most important in our society pretty much that people actually care about. The first one is definitely your appearance, your looks. Second one is money. Third thing is your social skills and charisma. Basically, and funny, these 3 are the things girls look for in a relationship, right? They care about your looks. That's the most important thing. Second thing they care about is the amount of wealth that you have, how rich you are. Third thing is if you're charismatic, if you're funny, right? That's personality. That's pretty much your social skills. So 3 things. If you have just like one of them, you're pretty much set. Think about it. But if you have all 3, that's great. I see it as almost like a triangle, right? Yeah, I'm sorry if I can't really like DM all of you, and it's really hard for me to keep up with that. But I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna start reading everything you guys are saying because I know I've just been rambling on my own, but I'm probably sounding really dumb. But honestly, I'm pretty much like dumping like all my songs. Even doesn't make sense right now, you could say. Anyways, yeah. Also, sorry if it's like a bit laggy. Anyways, I'm gonna just take a look at what you guys have to say. Starman, I'm not sure if I know you from before, but appreciate you joining here. And oops. You can consult me, Commander. I love to talk. This is a fun open room. Thanks, Brian. I'm glad you're open to it. I'm Joshua. Richard, you said, I'm glad women not as strong as us. If that was in addition, their craftiness deception to women would be wiped out. Oh, 100%. If you look at OnlyFans and stuff, like, a lot of women, I feel like nowadays, have more you could say, rights than before. And you can see how, men are submissive, right? When, in those situations. But it's actually interesting about, like, I feel like it's kind of interesting seeing about the social tech, right? If women and men swap spots almost. Green Gun, you said shyness is genetic. Actually, I did not know being shy is genetic. I thought shyness is mostly due to like nurture and nature, right? Not really your genes, but oh yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, some animals like bees, definitely the woman. Well, like female is a dominant gender. It's certain species, right? Like it's not, but I feel like for humans, it's definitely not the case. Brian made some great points actually. He said what most women don't want is a creep, is a bad attitude. Being insults, why insults can get a girl. Yeah, that's actually true. I feel like a lot of insults just end up having a poor judgment of women, and they just, the ironic part is that they probably like jack off by themselves, right? And like they don't really see women as like people. They like to objectify them in a way. That kind of makes sense, right? Like if you don't treat like a human being, like why should you be respected? I feel like that kind of makes, right? It stems from our inherent, as humans. And yeah, Elijah, you actually made a great point. Sorry it took so long for me to read your message. Basically what he said is our society also shits on people. So yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of people that are like more creative, like good and humanistic, right? Social science, like are they don't people don't take them seriously. People are more data driven nowadays. People want people who are good at with numbers, right? That's why you see a lot of jobs like software engineer make crap ton, but what jobs can you get, right? With freaking social science degree, like philosophy or like freaking psychology and social work, right? Like those guys get underpaid if you're not good with numbers. I guess it kind of makes because if you think about it, in a capitalist society, usually like jobs that work with numbers are going to make more just because it's in line with the capitalist society, which is all about money, right? But jobs that have to do with like psychology or like sociology or like philosophy, they don't really work with numbers as much. It's not, they don't make as much, and they don't really work tech. Like I feel like a lot of tech jobs just also like make more just because that's generates the most revenue in businesses. And I feel like we're heading more towards that direction. Like traditional jobs are sort of dying. I feel like a lot of jobs are going to be replaced. Even like production workers and like factory workers are going to be replaced. So I probably wouldn't be able to be a factory worker eventually, just because robots take over, right? They can literally make Coca-Cola cans in 10 years or so. Josh, Richard, you said it's not anger that brings those together, it's bitterness. Yes, I think it's almost like bitterness due to them being rejected so much and just like almost spite of women. Like them projecting their insecurity on them. And they don't want to look down upon them just because they know it's like they don't want to admit that they are inferior to women. They think women are inferior species. Men should bow down to them. But women, in fact, are standing on their 2 feet. So they really look down on them in a way. If that makes sense, yeah. Augustine 10, you said management loves data because numbers go up. Singh says, how do you interpret that data? Are they just noise on a spreadsheet? Yeah, good point. What I've noticed a lot of times in companies, a lot of people pretend to, if you notice. Like, I feel like a lot of people, I remember one of my former friends, one of his coworkers would take so many vacation days. And sometimes he would just go home like after 3 hours. Like, I feel like a lot of people pretend they're working hard. It's almost like they're pretending to work hard just so they can get a promotion. No one actually cares about the company doing well, let's be honest, right? Unless you're the CEO or a top executive. Like if you're just a typical engineer or like a freaking programmer, you probably don't care too much about the company itself. Like if they're making crap ton of money, as long as you're getting a pay raise or a bonus by the end of the quarter. And I feel like a lot of people just like want to work smart, not hard. They just want to show that they're working really hard, but in reality they're probably like they listen to music on their laptop. They're probably like texting their friend and just like looking on their phone, seeing when the day's gonna end stuff. And it feels like there's a lack of I feel like there's a lack of drive in people at work. And I feel like the only drive for people at work is just basically money in a way, right? It's like Brian said, take dogs for example. Some people can't get a dog to come to them because they give off a scary vibe. Dogs sense danger. That's true. I noticed. Okay, I don't know why, but I feel like certain dogs just like bark when they see me. But probably those are the dog guards. I notice a lot of big dogs tend to just like bark very loudly when I'm within their proximity. Commander Apple, he said maybe it's smart to dive into AI if it's going to take over. Yeah, I guess that's why a lot of people like take advantage of AI advancements, right? They want to be the first. It's like similar to like how they want to be the first to set foot on the moon. That's why people want to get a head start, because you're an early adopter. If you end up being the first one to invent something that's game changing, for example, Steve Jobs pretty much reinvented the phone. Like Android essentially copied the frameworks of iPhones today, and that's why like Apple's so successful, right? So like you definitely, if you want to be an innovator, if you want to be someone have a strong creative vision, you want to be the first one to do it, because you're gonna reap the benefits. Everyone else, that's, you know, basically you want to be a trendsetter, you could say, right? Like, I feel like nowadays people don't really have that mindset anymore. Everybody just wants to be a sheep. Everybody likes to play safe nowadays because no one hates anything that's volatile, right? If you look at the stock market, no one wants to take risks in the stock market. Like, no one would invest in Bitcoin back in 2012. Like, barely any value. Now, one Bitcoin back then is like 100K Bitcoin nowadays. So it's like, I feel like a lot of people play too safe. The most successful people, I feel like, take risks in some matter, and those guys tend to do well when they end up actually, it pays off. So, like in the corporate 9 to 5 lifestyle, you can't really take risks. You have to play it safe. That's why a lot of people get trapped in the 9 to 5 system. The only way they can break out of it is to pretty much quit the job and start a company. And a lot of companies don't fail because they don't really look deep into their audience, demographic, and have a strong enough niche in consumer market, right? I feel like a lot of people just expect to get rich really fast. The issue is that not many people reinvent the wheel. They just stick with the same frameworks that works for most businesses. Right? They like to down templates. That's why you see a lot of people down even UI templates for UI UX designers. They like to copy the frameworks that got other people to, but they never try to reinvent their own in a way. And see, I think the world lacks these type of people. The people able to critical think. It's kind of the fault of colleges, universities, right? When you're stressing school, you're probably not going to care so much about how do I invent that's going to, like the iPhone, that can change the world. You probably just care about passing your exam, right? You're probably looking at flashcards all the time. You're probably, drinking crap ton of espresso. You don't really care the big picture. You just care about passing the exam, maybe graduating, distinction, honors. And yeah, just unfortunate. I think that's why there hasn't been a massive innovator since Steve Jobs. If you look at it, what was the next biggest technology invention since iPhone, right? Maybe AI, but I feel like no one really invented AI. AI slowly paved its way into relevancy, right? You could argue Elon Musk, right? But let's be honest, Elon Musk is sort of a fraud. He pretty much bought, people to sing for him, right? I feel like you can kind of tell he's not as hands-on and not as creative as Steve Jobs. He's more of, you could say, someone who's, I don't know the right term for it, but I feel like there's a lack of people in our world that just want to change the world. Because I feel like a lot of people don't want to change the world, especially rich people, because they fear that if someone tries to do that, they might lose their wealth, right? Why should he choosing a system that works? That's why no one really wants to change a capitalist society. They are worried that, because the people that are in power are rich, right? Obviously, if they are no longer in power, they don't want that. That's why they don't want to change the system, because the system favors towards them, and they can manipulate and take advantage of the system, exploit the system. So you can see how this all goes full circle, right? You can see obviously there's a lot deeper into, you can study this for your entire life, but you never understand truth just because it's so complex. Yeah, I agree. It's not worth going to stock market, especially when Trump is pretty much dumping it, he's pretty much, flipping the stock market, stock market manipulation, right? Pretty much. Oh, AI is getting really. Yeah, I know there's a whole talk about AGIs, right? If AI is going to be sentient, is this going to be like Robocop? Is this going to be like Terminator? Are we going to be invaded by freaking robots? I think that is freaking company that designs robots. I forgot what it's called. It's something dynamics, aerodynamics or something. But sorry if I missed all of the things you guys said. School system kills dreamers also. Green gun, got him. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does kill. Yeah, Brian, I agree. The only way to win is playing the long game, right? If you play the short game, you're gonna also suffer from taxes as well from stocks. I heard it's like 50% for like short term, pretty much. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like one of my coworkers investing in stocks, he was supposed to get 6 million, right? But he ended up getting only 2,700 in stocks just because of the freaking tax on the stocks, which is kind of dumb, right? Like everything has taxes now if you think about it. And I feel like the real question is, where does taxes actually go, right? Does it go towards keeping our city safer? Or does it go into the pockets of politicians that use it on their pension or vacation, right? It's like, we don't know where the money goes. They're obviously not going to leak how they're going to spend the money. If you think about it, you shouldn't trust much about what politicians say, right? They could say, oh, we're going to invest this into building new businesses and fix our infrastructure. But in reality, they could just, freaking go on a vacation in the nowhere, right? On an island. No one will know, right? That's why I don't really take the news too seriously nowadays. Like a lot of people might think, oh, it's just CNN or Fox News that's like spreading bullcrap. And there's even Russian-based news, right? A lot of news you find you see internet are actually run by Russians, if you didn't know that. I feel like a lot of people just believe whatever they see, sadly. That's why I don't bother to look at the news anymore. And if I do, I compare different sources, right? But it's kind of hard to figure out what's the truth and what's not nowadays, because I feel like news are just trying to invoke a negative emotion on people. That's how they get clicks. That's how they get people to watch, right? No one's gonna care if a freaking fire saves a cat from a tree, but everybody's certainly gonna care if there's a freaking shooting on a CEO, right? It's like no one wants to know the good news. Everybody just the funny thing is that everybody acts shocked. They're like, oh God, our society's horrible, like when in the news. But in reality, life is actually not as bad as it seems in some sense. But what I'm trying to get at is that, like, if you notice, there's a lot more negative news than like positive ones, in a way. And a lot of people base off reality based off that, which is very shallow, right? And I know a lot of people will say, hey, I don't watch the news. But I'm sure a lot of people also go on Reddit. They probably gossip with their friends. They probably get their news from their friends, which is not a good, reliable source. If you think about it, a lot of people are hypocrites, They might say, hey, I don't watch the news, so I am a logical person. I base off my ideas based on what I experience. Yeah, they base off experience from a family gathering or hearing their friends talk about the news. Your friends are not going to be credible sources. In fact, it's kind of like the telephone game, right? When your friends hear the news from the TV, they might interpret it so that it's going to be a bit biased, right? Let's say the liberal leaning. So they're going to translate their liberal leaning worldview to you, and you're going to believe it from their view. So it's almost like the news gets morphed into something that's opposite, that doesn't make sense anymore when it gets to you eventually. So I feel like it's very hard to even reliable news nowadays. You can't rely on television. You can't rely on friends or family. So where do you dig to look for the truth, right, in life? Like, do you have to freaking travel to every freaking country, experience culture in every single country to experience the world? It's like kind of hard to figure out what's actually the truth nowadays, because there's so many sides to the story. Like, if there's a murder on a street, you wouldn't know the full story. It's just kind of crazy how life is like that, right? Anyways, I'm gonna look at the chat. Sorry for the rambling, by the way. I'm just like a bit annoyed. Oh, hey. A lot of your names are very hard to pronounce. Aurora or M. Thanks for being here, by the way. Sorry for my rambling. I'm really sorry for that. I know a lot of it probably doesn't make sense, but hopefully you guys can kind of, get a bit of insight from it, because I'm sure like a lot of you guys don't actually think like me. Like, even if I make some dumb statements sometimes, you probably will learn you can probably be able to translate it into something that makes more sense to you. Like, I'm sure of it. But I'm just giving you a lot of abstractions of what I see about the world, right? A lot of it's not well thought out. It's more of how I see it. But if you think about it, it does make sense, right? How a lot of the things we see in the world aren't actually true. It's just based off our own experiences, based off how we see the world from the way we grew up, the way we were indoctrinated towards maybe a religion or our parents, like way of life. And a lot of times, that's how we see as the appropriate and normal way of living life. Like someone living life in Asia, in China, would live life completely different in a Western country, right? If you like compare them, like both their lives are completely fine, but like their lives can be very different depending on which country you're born in. Oh hey, Nana Menom. I don't, man, all of your names are super hard to pronounce, which is actually not too bad because it's memorable, right? If all your name is John Smith, that's gonna be super freaking hard to remember. Thank goodness none of you guys are named like freaking, Okay, I'm sorry if I miss a lot of you. Okay, you win, guys. I'm gonna try to attempt your name. The guy who said M Gen Z. Actually, yeah, I'm not gonna pronounce your name. Sorry, it's not possible to be pronounced. Nice to meet you all, by the way. I'm just gonna go up on list. I'm gonna stop talking for a moment and just talk to you guys because I noticed I've been kind of disrespectful, just been spurting stuff. Seems like Brian, you're very active. Appreciate you engaging the audience, engaging as well. You seem very articulate. You seem like you definitely answer a lot of things in life. And man, Brian, I wish I had you as my neighbor. You could literally just sit in a porch and just talk about life. And maybe we could just get hot dogs too, right? And freaking burgers, It's pretty chill. Like, we could literally have a barbecue and just sit on the porch. But sadly, life is not like that, right? Sadly, people are no longer really doing that with strangers. Maybe they're doing it with relatives or friends. Or someone from work, but... On the kid. You said I'm single too, and they tax the hell out of single people. Yeah, I feel like it's unfortunate. I feel like people that are in school who have student loans get a short end of the stick. If you noticed, both liberals and conservatives don't care too much about students, right? They don't care about that. They care more about millennials and people in retirement, right? It's almost like us students get the short end of the stick. Like, job market is horrendous worldwide. I know someone from Poland, he told me that he couldn't find a job at like freaking Costco, like a superstore, pretty much, like a supermarket. Like, it's actually not bad because I feel like, I don't know why, like even in Europe, in Asia, it's just hard to even find like minimum wage jobs, like a grocery store, fast food. So like, I feel like people just, that's why I feel like a lot of companies end up underpaying people because they how desperate fresh graduates are for a job, right? They're willing to accept any day for as long as they're getting paid. It's like just almost like everything is not on our side. Like, basically the only people who benefit from this are business people, like people that are actually, are rich and actually established. People that are not established already are pretty much getting the FOMO. You can think of it as like MMORPG, right? You can think of people like Elon Musk or like freaking Donald Trump or like, someone who's owns a lot of real estate as people who have been a beta tester for a game, probably got the founders pack. They are rich. They were born pretty much with assets, resources, a lot of things to leverage, right? And us, we're pretty much people who join an MMORPG like 10 years later. We basically have to start from ground zero. We need to relearn everything, and pretty much it's frustrating. We pretty much got a late start. These guys get a head start, and there's a constant snowball effect, right? They get richer because of how money works, right? Pretty much it always goes up. And for us, like, we don't have a lot of capital to start with, right? And our parents are probably not gonna give us their retirement funds, right? Let's be honest, your parents probably most likely already have a plan themselves, right? they saved up money just for their retirement, and what are you left with? You're probably left by yourself in like a one-bedroom apartment. Like you're probably struggling to just paycheck to paycheck, right? And you're trapped in this endless cycle, negative feedback loop, right? By the time you get home, you're too tired, so you probably just try to save money by meal prepping, right? Prepping tons of meals, like 3 meals at a time, and it's just a negative feedback loop. I feel like there's not many winners in society. Common folks, we get screwed. Like no matter how you put it, I feel like there's too many factors that goes into our lives that make it miserable, right? If you think about it, life is actually not that great. Besides, okay, I'll tell you I'll tell you some stuff that's positive about life, like things, because I know in my videos I talk about only negatives, but you guys are probably super curious about what am I happy about life. I think there are some actually good things about life, all right? I know a lot are anti like natalism, like you think giving birth to people is not moral, but I'll maybe mention that a bit later. But basically, what I think is good in the world is that, basically, I think music is something that's super good. I feel like music can't really, like, in many places. I feel like music is definitely one of the only sources of communication where we can actually bond together, where we embrace differences, right? Like I'm sure no one's this towards a freaking type of music, right? Indian music, just because it's from India. Or like, let's say, there's literally, like, if you think about it, there are literally Chinese people that idolize freaking Avril Lavigne, right? Even though she's from Canada, right? If you think about it, music kind of is the closest thing to world peace. When you're at a concert, everybody is on the same page. Everyone's on the same wavelength. Music literally brings people together. And I feel like music is like super important. I think the only way to actually have world peace is to pretty much get rid of freaking languages. Screw English, screw Chinese, screw Spanish, screw Portuguese, screw freaking French, right? What if we just communicate each other through musical notes, right? What if we just spur out by singing to each other, right? I'm sure that it's gonna like increase the chance of world peace by like 100%, right? If you think about it, music is one of the only forms of art that actually unites humans together and does not divide them. Religion, politics divide people. Music brings people together. So it's unfortunately nowadays music is being consumed by capitalism in a way. People are sucking the soul of music. If you think about it, a lot of commercialized music nowadays lack soul, lack feeling, lack emotion. It feels almost surgically produced in a freaking lab if you listen to music nowadays. Like they want to find the right melody, the right tunes, the freaking right sound, just to get people to be addicted to it. Like there's a lot of catchy, choruses in music nowadays. And a lot of music nowadays sounds not genuine, right? It feels like, and if you look at it, a lot of music nowadays are written by so many people. They're produced by a freaking record label. And that's why I feel like the lack of independent artists nowadays that get proper recognition, just because record label is the only way you can actually get people for you to make a living off music, right? And I feel like it's unfortunate how music has been commercialized, music has been exploited, and yeah, it's unfortunate. I know there's a lot of outliers, like a lot of underground music that's still good, but I'm just talking about generalizing like how the music industry has changed, right? And I heard Spotify has supported AI artists. They have supported fake artists. Like those artists aren't even real people, by the way. So if you think about it, AI might even take over freaking music streaming services in the future. Who knows? AI might be able to produce movies. Like your new TV, and there might be a first AI generated TV show, right? It's kind of scary to think about how like there'll be no more like human left in everything we do in the future, right? There's already AI replacing certain textures in videos. Like there's a game called Enjoy. It's kind of like Sims 4. Basically, you can use AI to generate textures for clothing, right? Imagine if we can, in the future, some games, they use AI to create the character creator, right? And it's kind of scary how there's no lack of artistry in forms of media nowadays. And oh, Jackie, I didn't know you speak Chinese. Sorry if I'm still rambling, by the way. Brian, you said back in the old days before all this tech, almost every family had a player. Actually, I have to give argument. I feel like nowadays there are still a lot of musicians out there. If you look online, there's tons of people still playing guitar. I don't know. I don't think there's a lack of musicians nowadays. I feel like it's more like how music has been industrialized and commercialized to generate it, right? In a way, like it's less about the artist, more about freaking the money itself, right? And I think music is one of the hardest industries to also get into as well. Like it's hard to be a popular singer. There's so many good singers out there, but a lot of them don't have recognition because they don't have the money or assets to do so. Yeah, exactly. I feel like music should be free. I don't know about you, but paying for Spotify subscription is kind of like, imagine paying for Spotify premium, but you can't even support the artists you love, right? Like, I'm pretty sure when you buy Spotify premium to get out the annoying ads, none of the funds are going to go into your favorite singers. I can guarantee, right? It's like you're supporting the freaking company, like Spotify, supporting artists. Like, I wouldn't mind donating to my favorite artist, but and everything has a freaking microtransaction nowadays, like DLC, video games, freaking movies, like Netflix. The prices are getting more expensive too. Like everything needs a dang subscription service. Like, and also, by the way, I wrote all your names here. There's a lot more I missed, but this is just a good start. Also, I butchered one of the, by the way, but I'm gonna start writing more names to take a break from talking better. Actually, I'm just gonna answer some of your questions because I think no one really cares about having a name here, right? Like none of you guys probably even care about this because I barely show it. It doesn't really have into it. Yeah, YouTube is better to find music. I feel like a lot of small YouTubers actually make better music than actual established artists. Paul Han asks, what's your stand on people in general? I mean, that's a very broad question. I apologize, but normally I would answer questions, but that is like a bit too broad. I sort of pretty much answered that in a way from what I spoken earlier, right? I pretty much talked about how people are with gender from, the way society was built, right? That's pretty much the long answer. Short answer is sort of impossible to give to you, unfortunately. Like, I guess people are selfish human beings that prioritize their own natural instincts and their survival over others, right? If you look at the book Dead Island, when all of us are stranded in a stranded island, we are going to prioritize our survival over everybody else. Imagine a world without money. Imagine we're all stranded inside a stranded island. Would you still care about the things you care about right now? Like, probably not, right? Just want to live another day. And I was actually writing a book based off Dead Island. The plot line is like interesting. Like, I guess I could tell you a bit, but I want to sort of answer some people first because I apologize if I didn't read a lot of things you said. I was sort of just ranting. Paul, what's my philosophy in life? I apologize, I can't answer that as well. I'm gonna be honest, I'm quite new to like philosophy and just in general, like reality in general. That's why like a lot of things I say are very abstract. I'm still like learning it, right? Like reading books. Like I'm turning 26, so pretty much I can maybe answer a question in a few years when I'm more educated, but currently now I don't really know anything to like, well, okay, oh, Tommy Talks, he asked, do you remember SoundCloud era? Yes, I remember SoundCloud. I remember Juice WRLD. I remember, like, who's the person? Little Pump. Yes, Little Pump was a SoundCloud rapper. There's, like, so many underground artists there. It's, like, kind of interesting how SoundCloud used to be, like, only for, like, black rappers, right? like, okay, I'm glad I did not miss too many people asking questions. Thank goodness. Yep, I'm glad a lot of you guys agree with me, by the way. I really appreciate. Oh, thank you. No, me now. I'm gonna say Chinese. All right? I know a lot of you guys don't speak Mandarin, but I'm gonna say it because that's what he said. 红包礼物我送给你. Be happy. That's what he said. So what that means is be red envelope gift. I give you. Be happy. Yeah, thank you so much, Donna. I'm actually so grateful that I have like almost like another like Asian audience as well. I know a lot of you speak Mandarin, and honestly, I don't mind speaking Mandarin, but a lot of my audience are also English, right? You probably don't want me to start spitting out Mandarin because you're not gonna understand it. I guess I could sort of translate, but I don't know. Feels like majority of the times I end up just feeling more comfortable speaking English. But I really appreciate you for $10. Really means a lot. Oh, you have a question. I can't pronounce your name. By the way, everybody in chat, do you see the guy with a super long name? Starts with a W. I'm not gonna bother trying to write it down here. Like, I'm not gonna bother to write it down like backwards because that's gonna take like half an hour. But he asked, I have a question. How are you planning on taking your community to the next level? Like getting to know people and doing video calls? Yeah, that's a very good question. And the truth is that I'm still getting the groundwork sorted out. I've always been an ambitious person. I always wanted to read a video, you could say. I don't like to, just copy existing platform, right? Like Facebook or like something that's already, you could say, completely out of our control. Like you notice a lot of these platforms, there's diminishing returns nowadays. There's so much, ads, like greener content, right? You probably get in shorts of girls dancing and in like bikinis and right. It feels like a lot of it's intentional. So definitely I want it to be like pretty much like not even non-profit. If I have a platform, I definitely want to make it so I'm not getting any money out of it. It's going to be kind of like ADP list in a way. You guys can all search up ADP list. It's like, I'm going to yeah, ADP list is basically the ADP in a list. It's kind of like where you can get free mentors. The person who owns it does not make any money from it besides him being popular, right? But that's pretty much all he's getting. I want to sort of create a website like this that instead of a money generating platform, So I feel like that's not the right way of going about life, Like the whole purpose of the platform is definitely try to find people that are willing to accept being different from society, not taking social norms literally, right? And also being accepting of others, right? People who may have autism, people who may have bipolar, right? Just being open-minded, because I feel like a lot of people say they care a lot about these people, but when they see them in person, they're probably going to ignore them, right? Like, there's so much talk when it comes to people nowadays, lack of action. And what I want to do is take action. I want to make a platform that is very unique in a sense. Like, I don't know how I'm do it, but I guess I can do a bit of analogy. Like, if you notice, a lot of video games and movies have just been recycling the same plot lines and content, right? Like you saw like how bad the Minecraft movie was and just how bad, like a lot of most movies nowadays are just all reboots, right? If you noticed, like Batman and Joker has so much remakes and they're trying to milk out Tron, right? It's a new movie. It's almost like there's a lack of creative vision for like blockbuster movies nowadays. The only movies that have soul in them are independent music. So you could say that I sort of want to crave into creating a platform that's like more underground, like more independent. And I'm sure that it will be successful just because if you notice there's a lot of like game studios that are independent, like Stardew Valley, that end up being successful because it has soul in it. Like Stardew Valley has 600K reviews on Steam. Probably already know that game. Like if you notice, a lot of games like Assassin's Creed Shadows or like Dragon Age Veilguard, well, despite them made by Ubisoft, right? Like you can see a lot of game studios like Ubisoft, EA, and freaking like BioWare are slowly dying because they're focusing way too much on profit and trying to milk as much money out of people as possible, right? But all the small studios are thriving. Like even the AAA studios are transitioning to AAA studios. So it's unfortunate how much budget like Ubisoft has, right? But they still can't make a game that is like good just because they're out of touch with people. And there's a lack of creative vision because majority of artists and designers who are working in those companies like EA Soft, they probably get told what to do and how to design a certain, feature based on the managers and executives' vision, right? And there's a lack of creativity due to that. That's why I think it's better to make something by yourself than something with a group of people. I never played Black Myth Wukong, but I've seen gameplay of it. And I don't believe in rewards anymore. I find award shows dumb. Also, I also watch a lot of singing competitions. I'm not sure if you guys know AGT, like America's Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol. I used to watch it a ton. I used to love watching it just because of the sheer amount of talented singers and acts on the show. But I feel like a lot of it just feels very staged and manufactured nowadays. I don't know. I feel like it's interesting. If you notice, a majority of the winners in those shows don't actually end up being popular, right? It's usually almost like the runner-ups become more popular when become more independent, right? It's like, I feel like it's kind of interesting how like the people that are directors of the shows are reaping the benefits, right? They're getting traction on the acts, but those people get put into the dust. It's almost like a clown circus, right? Those singers and acts are literally clowns in the circus, right? Only the owner of the circus gets the money, but those clowns think they are going to be successful and grow a career out of it, but it's not always the case. So I feel like if you think about everybody wants to do well in this achievement society, meritocracy, right? Like being more skilled and qualified means that you're going to do better in this society, but that's not always the case, right? So many good artists in award shows and like competitions like The Voice, America's Got Talent, but a lot of them are don't end up getting popular just because of the way it's structured, right? It's almost like the coaches in the show get more traction, right? Like Adam Caldwell, right? And freaking Adam Levine in The Voice. I feel like the artists get a short end of the stick. They pretty much don't really get anything out of it, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry for all of you who just saw the stream. I just decided to just stream today, and I realized I streamed for pretty long. Honestly, I'm probably gonna get dinner soon. Sorry I couldn't write most of your names. Hopefully I can write more of your names next time, but probably gonna grab dinner soon because it's kind of late. But sorry I couldn't read the chat. I'm gonna try to go through the chat before I go, but yeah, that's pretty much I really want to ramble today. I know I didn't really cover too much stuff, but yeah, I'm glad you guys are having fun in the chat and speaking to each other. And my phone's about to die. It's 20% pop-up. I'm not sure if you guys saw that pop-up, but pretty much it has 20% battery on the phone I'm streaming on right now. So should have probably charged to 100% earlier, but oh yeah, Schedule 1 is pretty good, I heard. Red Bull's also pretty good. It has 100K reviews on Steam. It's one of these games are fun if you have friends, right? But if you have no friends, you're gonna have to figure out a way to have fun in that game. Maybe you just play with each other, right? You guys can probably even add each other in the chat. Oh, Brian, I didn't know you play Project Zomboid. That's a mad game. That's an insane game. I feel like that game is like super realistic. It's like literally, it reminds me almost like Don't Starve, but more realistic and slow paced. And I'm so glad a lot of you aren't asking questions. I would feel so bad if I forgot to answer some of your questions. But I'm just reading. Don't worry, I'm reading like pretty much everything you guys said. Glad a lot of you can resonate with me, by the way. And Joshua Mills, thank you for being here. I know you messaged this a long time ago, but yeah. Next time I'll probably like try to keep up a bit better. But generally speaking, this has been pretty fun. Like just having someone to hear. Oh, Trav, I didn't know you're here. Like, man, this is actually crazy. I didn't know. Do you know what the crazy part is? I feel like so many of you like are watching me like the stream from different videos you watched. Because some of you guys are probably here from my Minecraft videos I made way back, freaking 14 years old. Some people are from when I made a Growl video when I was rating pretty much MMORPGs I used to play, like Growl, like Adventure Quest Worlds, freaking RuneScape. Okay, I didn't do RuneScape, but you get the point. And some of you came here because you saw of me being super depressed because I was working in a factory. And some of you guys came here because you saw me talking about life and philosophy. It's kind of interesting how I changed up so many things I talked about. Most of the time I just talk about stuff I'm interested in. You can see I change stuff up quite often just because I've always been an impulsive person. I can't really stick with one thing at a time. But it's nice to see like all of you can kind of resonate with me in some way. Like I'm willing to like play games in the future as well, right? Like, but yeah, it's been fun just like hearing all comments as well and what you've all been saying, because it's nice that you guys can also like listen to me. Like it's quite therapeutic. Like all of you guys are my therapists right now. I'm just here, sitting here, you know, trying to find someone to listen to me, you know? Zomboid, yep. Oh yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 is pretty fun too. You said buy a microphone for the stream to kill the echo. Oh, I'm sorry if there's echo. Maybe I should like talk a bit like quieter, but I'm sorry about that. Martial Eyes, thank you so much for the blessings. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you're still here. But yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna delay this any longer. I pretty much have to eat dinner and I probably have to go. I'll probably stream another time, but thank you everybody here. Like I think some of you guys are probably still here. I'm not sure if all of you guys are here, but sorry I couldn't write all your names. I was spending too much time talking. Next time I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna keep the names here for the next stream, and I'm gonna see how many people are gonna show up here, all right? And I'm gonna write new names each stream, pretty much. And eventually I'm gonna try to memorize all your names. But yeah, thank you all for being here. And sorry for all the rambling. I know I should have paid attention to the chat and what you guys been saying, but next time I'm gonna definitely be attentive. But I guess this time around I just ended up rambling too much. But yes, take care all. Have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you are. Yep, that's ADHD in a nutshell. Anyways, take care.